Hey, good morning, everyone. How's it going today? Coach Alvarez here. Another episode of Coffee with Coach. Got a really good one for you today. Something new, something I just learned and spent in the morning kind of studying, research it. Anyways, hope you're up, having a good day so far. Got the mind in the right place, putting things in the right direction. But if you're not, let's go ahead and do that. Quick toast to everyone that loves my first drink, my first sip of Coffee with Coach. Good stuff, right? If I don't take a sip of my coffee, it's not coffee with Coach. It could be coffee with orange juice or orange juice with coffee or something else, right? Apple juice or tea, but it's coffee. So I got to get my sip in. Anyways, let's get back to the message of the day. So Sisyphus is something I just learned this morning. So it took me a little longer to get to my episode this morning because I've been watching some videos on Sisyphus and reading some things like, who is this, right? So as I'm doing my daily routine, waking up, I'm listening to a new Jocko video, right? New Jocko podcast. And one was The Rock, it was labeled The Rock, and the other one was Sisyphus. And I was like, so I click on it. So I was like, never heard that before. What's this? What's going on with that? And it's an interesting Greek mythology little story. So I'll try my best to kind of just give you a quick background without messing it all up because I'm not a historian by any means. But for what I just learned within the first few hours of the day so far, Sisyphus was he was a king of Corinth. He was very smooth, deceiving individual. He cheated death a couple times. And when it finally caught up to him, Zeus gave him this pretty much a task that couldn't be completed. He had to roll this rock up this hill for eternity. As soon as he got the rock towards the top of the mountain, it rolled back down. So for the rest of eternity, he's pushing this rock up, right? So the relationship or the analogy and everything else, how that relates to life is that's our everyday struggle, right? Our everyday task, what we're doing every single day. And it just so happened that today was just one of those days where I got out of bed and I really wasn't feeling it. It's Thursday, got a lot of training sessions in this week, jiu-jitsu, running, working out, body sore, tired, didn't get good sleep. So I don't really feel all that refreshed, sore and everything. Just not feeling it. It's like, man, today, I got to do the same routine. Every day is the same routine. I got the same routine every single day. Like, it doesn't change. I get up and I do the same thing. I drink the same thing, eat the same thing. Today's deadlift day, jiu-jitsu day. It's like, today's trash day. I got to take out the recycling bin, put the trash out, I'm pointing that way because that's where the street's at. And it's just the same thing. And like this morning, I was like, man, it's just like the same thing every day. Then I click on this video. And it just so happens like that's what it's referring to. Sisyphus, like the rock, pushing it up the mountain, rolling back down, pushing up the mountain, it's rolling back down. And you can never get it to the top. And it's just that daily struggle, those daily things that you're just going after every day. It's like you never get to the top of the mountain. And what I like about the Jocko video, it was very, very motivating. It's just the way he talks and his voice and everything and the music that they put in the background. Like, really started to change my mind. Like, man, all right, I'm just acting like a little punk today. You know what I mean? Like, you just feel that way and you're just being soft today and you just need to get your mind right and get moving, right? So Jocko's like, he's talking about, like, people say things like he posts pictures with like sweat and like his barbell with the plates on it or a squat rack. And he's like, man, I've been getting under that squat rack for 25 years. And it's a never-ending task to do squats and everything else. He goes, but I'm not tired of it. For 25 years, I love doing squats. And he's like saying like it's using squats as a reference. Like it's an unwinnable battle. Like you can never like just lift all the weights in the world, right? You're just constantly lifting weights and trying to put yourself in the right direction. But he's saying it's not about winning. It's the battle itself. It's the battle itself of like getting yourself underneath the bar, going through the pain, through the struggle, through the, of working out, or put it as whatever it is that, that's tough for you every single day. It's not about the winning of that thing. It's the battle of that thing. Like that's where we should have our mind at. It's the struggle of the daily test, physically and mentally, having to just go through these motions every day and battle them. And it's just, you're never going to win. You're never going to get to a point where like you're satisfied, or at least you shouldn't, because that means you stop growing, you stop learning. And he says the goal isn't not getting to the top of the mountain. The goal is about pushing the rock. He's like, pushing the rock pushes me. He said it makes me tougher, it makes me harder, it makes me better. He said the rock gives him way more than it gives, than he gives it, right? Like all the strength, all the pushing the rock, the resistance of the rock, and then having to roll back down the mountain and push it back up. It's making him harder, it's making him better. Each time he has to push it back up. And like Jocko says, he says, I want the grind. I want to claw and scratch my way to the top. And he says, this is what really got me. He goes, if I ever got the rock to the top of the mountain and it stayed there, I would push it back down. Man, that was pretty deep stuff. Like that was really good stuff. Like it got me really good there. He goes, I don't want it to end. I don't want it to end. And I think a lot of us do. Like we're in search for something throughout our lives, trying to get to a certain point. But we shouldn't want it to end, because we have to keep growing. He goes, I don't want to rest or coast and get to a point where I've had enough. And, days you feel like that, right? Like you had enough, like enough's enough. Like, man, it's just, when's this thing going to end? It's just a constant battle of just trying to get somewhere. And it just never seems like you're never going to get there. But he says he don't want it to end. He goes, he wants that relentless cycle of a day-to-day struggle. And he said it doesn't frustrate him. It inspires him to do more, to push more. And at the end of the video, he's like, dig in and get to pushing. So if you didn't get a chance, if you haven't heard of Sisyphus yet, just Google it. That's what I did. YouTube videos came up. If not, I'll send it to you, or I'll post it in the description or in the comments below. But it's a pretty interesting little story. The dude was slick. He found his way out of death a couple times, but eventually it caught up to him. And again, he had to push this rock up the mountain. But the reference, what I've read and what I've watched these couple videos, is that's us. The rock is our daily task, is our things that we're trying to get to. And we're trying to get to that top of the mountain, but that rock is pushing against us. We get close, then it rolls back down. Then we try again, and it just comes back down. We just never get it to the top. And like Jocko says, if you ever do get it to the top, then push it back down. Start over. You don't want to rest, you want to coast. And again, there's days like today, as much as I read this stuff and as much as I do love the grind, and I like to get in the trenches and do the work with my students and my team. And it's just, there's just days where you wake up, like I said, maybe not enough rest, your body's sore from lifting weights, running, training, lactic acid's all in your muscles. You don't want to move because it hurts. You just want to lay down. But that's part of the process, right? Like that's the rock. Like you got to keep pushing past all that to get to where you need to get to. And even when you get there, you're still not done, because there's more pushing. There's more things that we need to get done. Really, really interesting story. Again, during this quarantine thing that started a couple months ago, I definitely got more into more reading and more stuff. I've been sharing with you guys all this stuff, and it's really just kind of made things even better than what it was before, because I was already listening to it. So I'm reading more material, searching for more things, to not only give myself, but to share with all of you. And then today I come up with this Sisyphus story, which I never even heard of before. I wish I did a long time ago, because it really puts things in perspective for me to just, this is the way it's supposed to be. This is the way it's supposed to be. There's a book, I haven't pulled it out in a while, but someone referred it to me a long time ago. I think it's Viktor Frankl, Man's Search for Meaning. And they reference that book to like this story with the rock and pushing it up the mountain. And that's why we're here, right? Why are we here? Why are we born? What were we put here to do? And, what are we doing every day to get there? Now, some of us are on that way to pushing that rock up the mountain, and some of us haven't even got started yet, right? Like I said, I've had a family member one time tell me, when I asked him what his goals are, what he planned on doing, he was like, why I got to worry about that? I got about 5 years before I think I got to starting to get some goals and moving forward with anything, because it's playtime for him. He's young. He thinks he's got the rest of his life to do some things. And I'm not trying to bash him. You know, I'm just giving you an example of how like some people think, and that they haven't even got started on pushing that rock. Where a lot of us, we're already pushing that rock. We've been pushing it. So you got the ones that need to get started pushing that rock up that mountain. And then we got a lot of the other ones like us that we've been pushing it for 20, like you said, 25 years, 20 something years. I've been in jiu-jitsu over 20 years. I've been lifting weights since I'm in high school. I've been running since high school, since wrestling. I haven't stopped. So it's just like one of those, like you said, it's never going to end. It's a never ending thing. And we need a reminder sometimes that that's the way it's supposed to be. You know, there's times where I do feel like I made it, like I got somewhere, and then I wake up the next day and it's like, man, I got to start all over again. Like those tasks, those daily tasks are right back in my face again. And I can't just, because I made it to a certain point, just stop. Like life doesn't stop. It doesn't end that way until it actually ends. You know what I mean? So good stuff today. So if you haven't, didn't know who Sisyphus was, check it out. It's a pretty cool story. And then in relation to that with the Jocko video, man, really just got me, put my mind in the right place, because I was definitely feeling groggy and a little sluggish this morning. And today's deadlift day, and a lot of dips and stuff like that, overhead presses. So I got to get to work. I still got to take my dog for a walk. Again, daily tasks, what I do every single day. I got to get to it. So like you said, dig in and get to pushing. All right, guys, have a great day. We'll catch you next time.